Hello everyone and welcome to a on-location beer review. We are here out in Campbeltown, which is on the Kintyre Peninsula, and I'm joined by Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh yeah, he's gone a bit French on us, even though we're further from France. But there we go. In the last video you were seeing, we've done a tour of, Fyne Ales. We went there to visit the farm brewery, and we've done some reviews live there that we published on Jean-Luc's channel of some of their ales that they normally produce, alongside some of their keg beers. But they also give us a tour of their Origin brewery. And what we done was, when we're there, we picked up 2 bottles from their Origin brewery series. It's probably at this stage worthwhile sort of explain what the Origin brewery is from what we understand. So Origin brewery is using the wild yeast technique. So they go out, they'll grab wild growing blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, whatever it is, seasonally wise, and then they will pickle it in a way to generate the yeast, and then that yeast is then used in a brew batch, and it's based in their older warehouse. But he sort of covers that in the video that I've recorded just prior to this, so hopefully it covers all the information. Just thought I'll cover it for those that may not have seen it. If you haven't seen it, do click above, it will be linked. So we picked up 2 of these. I'm not sure what to expect, because partly in my mind, I'm thinking sour beers, and I don't know if I should be thinking that.
Yeah, I've kind of got that fruited beer kind of at the forefront of my mind, because I'm kind of like, wild yeast beer, it's not really a thing I've ever really dabbled in.
Yeah, there's only a few that do it in the UK as well. It's probably picking up a bit more fashion, but there's a few that do it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of these things that I think would put a lot of people off. Just the fact that it says wild yeast. Obviously, we know yeast goes in all beers, and it's in our bread and everything else. But wild yeast is something completely different and reacts different. So I'm kind of keen to see how, not just the flavour of this, but also how I react.
Well, I think we're going to take an easier start. The idea is that we are starting with, which obviously excuse all our pronunciations, but this is Breac Gaff, or Guff.
Breac. Just say Breac.
Breac. It even has a pronunciation thing on the back that I didn't even look at. There we go. The reason why we're starting with this one is it is apple-based. So worst case scenario, we're moving towards the land of potential cider elements. So it should be an introduction towards this. This bottled actually there on the premises, unlike some of the other stuff which they send away. This is done on the premises, and will contain live yeast, more than likely, which probably is settled, hopefully, and other elements.
Yeah, and what they did say was this is the 4th generation of brewer.
There we go.
That's the reaction of the wild yeast.
It's a bit active.
More active than I've been in a long time. Not in that way. I mean, physically. But they're kind of on their 4th generation of brewing this series. They're not all the same brewers or related to each other. They're just kind of... There's been 4 brewers that have carried it on.
These are very active, and it's probably not picked up, but even on the back of the label, with that foam that's come off, there is just yeast on it. I can see the brown of the yeast, and on the top of this one here, with the sun trying to hide, but it probably won't come out, but there is some yeast on top of that one as well. It is very active. Admittedly, we have been in a car, so it hasn't had as much time to settle as perhaps we would like. The hazards of filming on location. I'm not going to pour the end out, mainly because I'm expecting that it's probably yeast-based. So as I said, it's apple based. So just to read on the back, it's a list of the collaboration, but they're getting the apples from Linn Cidery, Linn, which is in Aberdeen. And so they've gathered it, as they say, from an old apple tree there.
Yep.
I'll take this one.
Straight away, it's already smelling yeast.
Cider. I'm getting cider.
Yeah, I'm getting cider, but I'm getting yeast.
Yeah, that is, wow. It's very active, and these are not nucleated bases. These are specific glasses for the Origins series that we picked up because they looked lovely. Yeah. But the carbonation coming off this is absolutely crazy.
I'm nervous. I'm just going to admit it.
Yeah, it's very hazy, very murky. I can't see my finger through it. I cannot see my finger through that at all.
Yeah.
This is cloudy apple cider as far as I'm concerned. But there's yeast puddle here on the table. I can see.
Don't be blaming the beer.
I'll have to show that after, but yeah. That concern about being sour, I get that straight away. Naturally sour.
Yeah. Crikey.
Oh, these might be a tough ask. They might be a tough ask, but I'm hopeful there's a sweetness off some sort of apple element here.
I mean, on the nose, it's going to be sweet. I don't even know how to describe it.
Sour apple.
It's the sourest apple you could ever imagine on the nose. Oh.
Well, I mean, bottoms up. As I asked you last night.
The stuff you'll get me into, mate, Tumblr. Anyway.
Right. Cheers, all.
Cheers, and if anything becomes of this or you never see us again, it's the apple.
There is no sweetness to that. That is totally sour.
Yep.
And actually, it's quite bland to begin with, but then it gets very
cidery.
For me, I was going to say more along the lines of it goes like a bran flake. It just goes into malt territory at that stage, and it doesn't have.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I prefer the nose over the taste.
Drinking an apple yeasty beer shouldn't really give you cornflake vibes, but
as I say, the idea behind this is that so the main elements of this, water, barley and wheat. The apple is only for the yeast. So we're not having apple actually in here. It's wheat and barley.
But there is a lot of apple tannins going on. It's that's clear, but it's kind of. I'm not sure how I would describe it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm absolutely flummoxed by it.
It's different. I've had a lot of sours.
I've had a lot of sours, but I'm like...
Yeah, this is totally different.
This is on the motorway home and you're shitting yourself type of...
I mean, have you got concern for the next one? Because this is the easy introduction because it's apple-based. I'll be honest and say that obviously it's not to our taste. I nervous going in, preconceptions with it, obviously leading in, but yeah, not overly. It's not something I would go out of the way and personally buy normally. There is more of a sourness on the nose, but the flavour doesn't sort of follow that sourness. So if you're looking for a sour beer, I don't think this one has that. It's totally different from that.
Yeah, it's kind of like you've opened up a carton of apple juice, but you've left it on the worktop for a few days and you've gone back and took a sip.
The sugar's all gone.
The sugar's,
sweetness isn't there. Yeah, that's why I was sort of going along the lines of a brown flake, because brown flakes are quite bland in a way. You get a sort of flavour from it, but it's nothing that's sweet or stand out. That's what that felt to me.
And we're not knocking it, because people that like this style will probably enjoy it. It's just, I know for me personally, this type of beer isn't really my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But it's
a particular style. I say it's something that we're trying that's new to us in that way.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I'm going to finish this, I'll be honest.
No.
We'll be back in a second for the next one. So, as you can see, we weren't quite big fans of the first one. I was hoping maybe starting with an apple tang to it might work well. But not really huge fans of it. But I say each style is independent of each person. But just for me, I do have sours. It just wasn't on that sour element.
That's
either.
kind of the sourest sour I've ever soured. That was, yeah. Sorry to, Fyne Ales if they're looking. It's just not my
our style.
our style at that point. So
yeah. So next one we have from the Origins series, and we only have two. I would say thankfully. I don't know if that sounds bad. We're going with Stòr. So this is actually the wild Biere de garde, so it's an actual style. And actually looking on this, it says Origins House Mixed Culture, but it doesn't say what it is. Unlike this one, which said it was the previous one, which said apple. This one seems to be some sort of Belgian yeast culture they may have cultivated themselves and built through different versions. But this is definitely going to be sour. It's a saison, but it's just what level of saison we're looking at. So is this going to be like the Belgian saisons that we've had before?
Saison. Yeah.
All right, let's get this open. I'm going to imagine we're going to have a bit of activity on this one as well, just like the previous one, just because of,
There she blows.
I don't want to open it further, but I have to. Oh, it's not as bad actually. That only a few dribbles.
Hey.
So let's pour this in, just being careful that obviously there is yeast in the bottom here, and that will have kicked up some of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you keep the yeast to yourself.
When it's active like that, we will have kicked up some of the yeast. Let's get this poured out. I'm roughly trying to go for the same line level on both of ours without having the whole bottle.
Actually, on the nose, smells good. Doesn't
I can
smell
it on my hand. Do you know what? It smells.
I'm not smelling your hand.
I didn't ask you to, mate. Wow.
No, but you know what? That smells like a beer. No, that really smells like a beer.
I was saying, I was
unlike the last one where that was just completely.
I was getting beery notes straight off my hand, but do you know what note I was getting? Like the French little beer bottles that you get. So immediately, I don't know if that comes on camera, but for me, again, I can see through this time. There is a haze to it. There is some carbonation coming off it, natural carbonation, because this glass is not carbonated at all, nucleated. Yep. So that's all natural carbonation that's rolling up. That it looks really good. One finger head on mine, slightly smaller on yours.
That's
just
what she
down
said.
to the pour. This actually looks really good. Nose-wise, though, it is a beer. It's a saison. It is a saison. It's got the beer notes to it, but it's also got a sour. You can smell that sour, but it's not a massive, overly powering, sucker punch sour going to it.
No.
Oh, it's all going to be in the taste.
Well,
all right.
I say good
Cheers,
riddance for that.
Good health.
So, I might need it after this.
The toilet might.
Oh,
I like that.
Oh, it's carbonated though.
I like that. I actually like that. I shouldn't really jump in that quick, should I? I should wait for a few more sips of it. But yeah, that is. It's not totally beery. There's a fruity sourness to it, but that is a saison without the massive puckering saison mouth hitting punch, is it?
Yeah, but it's still got that apple tannin.
And house yeast, I don't know. Yeah.
It's still dry.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, it's like cider dry at that point.
It's hitting a medium dry, not total dry, I would say. I get you on the cider front with that. But I like that. I'm weird, aren't I?
I mean, it didn't take a beer for people to know that, but...
I can drink that. I can drink that. The other one, sadly, we threw it away. We couldn't drink it. We even had some on the side have a little taste, not fully to their liking. But this one, I can definitely finish. But again, it's all down to individual styles and tastes. On the bottle here, just to sort of quote what it says. So it sort of says it's a rich dried raisin and prune flavour with hints of bubblegum on the nose and a fruity, funky body and light acidity on the finish. I would say, yeah, the fruity is more, like you were saying, the dry cider fruity.
Like me?
Yeah. The dry cider fruity.
I'm not getting bubblegum.
No, there's no bubblegum. I'm also not, well, I'm hoping I'm not getting prune coming off this.
I'm not getting prune either.
But I can drink that, and I will.
And you will? Yeah, I mean, it's certainly better than the first one. Is it still a kind of mine taste? Not really.
Oh, I would not go out and hunt this. I would not turn around and say, I absolutely want to drink this. Only because it's not a style that I generally will hunt down. It's the one that, you know, in occasion, when I come across a saison, I'll have it. I'm not going to hunt a saison down generally. You know, sour isn't for everyone's tastes. Biere de garde is not always for everyone's taste either, but it's a saison. I think it does the job well. It is a hitting the saison notes as I would expect it to be.
Yep. And remember, we drink the beer, so you don't have to.
And we come all the way to lovely Campbeltown, which hopefully you can see. It's a beautiful day, which you don't generally get all the way up here in April time.
No.
So early spring, mid-spring actually, probably at this stage. But yeah, it's beautiful weather out here. Hopefully we'll find a few more beautiful beers to go with some of the other beers we've had during our trip and alongside the whiskey. So do keep an eye out on both Luke and myself's channel. We have a few more beer and whiskey stuff from this trip coming up. Yeah. So keep posted, guys. See you all soon. Take care. I like it. I like it. Are you not a fan?
I'm glad you do, mate, because that's just fucking horrific.
Do you want to taste? This is so much better than the other one. I'm pouring the rest out.
It's better than the other one, but for me, it's just... I'm
just being careful. I see the yeast come in. Yeah, I see the yeast come in. I don't want the yeast because I don't want the shits. That's all it is. I've had enough of the shits already as it is. I actually like it. It's better than some of the other saisons. Only because it's not mouth puckering, smack you in the face.
I just can't get away with it.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
It tastes exactly the same as the other one.
No, the other one was
like apple-y type.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's got that,
no,
that
the
apple
other one,
tannin.
The apple was the other one was
That's what I'm saying. It's got the apple
mate.
tannins,
It
but
still tastes like my own brew that went wrong.
Today's rain is rose whiskey. That makes sense. Can you press the stop button on the camera?